What's up, everybody? This is a special motherfucking episode from my car, cause I don't have a studio yet, and I wish I did, but I don't. So, and then I have my car on with the AC running, but my car is kind of old and shit. So that motherfucker was shaking the camera. So let's see how long I can fucking survive in this motherfucker. Today is the 2nd of August. I was rewatching this show called Timeless on Hulu. Originally aired on NBC, and it's an incredible show. It's about time travel, and it's about history, and it's about basically the Illuminati. So on episode 2, it's titled, well, I don't know what it's titled, but it's about the assassination of Lincoln. The Civil War was right before that. So in the story, in the show, there's a family called Rittenhouse, 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 and it's you're born into it and shit like that. Which actually that goes into probably the 4th episode. But let me see. So a fact that I did not know, that I learned from this show, is that there was a bigger conspiracy than just Abraham Lincoln to get shot. Johnson, Stewart, and General Grant were supposed to get assassinated as well. If all of those men died, that would have revived the Confederacy. Sounds like a bad thing. Now, the bad guy in this show, his name is Garcia Flynn. I talked about him last week, and he says to the main female historian character that he's trying to save America, right? And she's like, how the fuck are you trying to save America if you want to kill these other 3 dudes that will revive the Confederacy? Now, they don't really go into that, you know, on the show, but coincidentally, I read this book, shout out to Romo and Vino from the Odd Pod, called Confederate Monuments. I also read Synchronicity. It's mentioned something about in this book. Let's see. In this book, this is called Villa Incognito by Tom Robbins. So there's this character named Dickie, and it says, had you suggested to Dickie before he entered the University of North California, UNC, that the Civil War was not fought over slavery. Let me say that again. Had you suggested to Dickie before he entered UNC that the Civil War was not fought over slavery, then it goes on, that it wasn't Columbus who discovered America, which we know, that Jesus Christ was never a Christian, which we know, that unique was not a synonym for unusual, or that a screwed over inventor named Nikola Tesla, which there's a movie coming out. The trailer recently dropped. It looks pretty fire. Tesla. So it said, or that a screwed over inventor named Nikola Tesla was the father of both electrical and electronic technology in the US, with accomplishments that made Thomas Edison's look like the putterings of a neighborhood handyman. Had you imparted even such elementary bits of knowledge as those, he, like almost everyone else in Mount Airy, educated or not, would have regarded you as a lunatic spouting heresy. Now here he was in a coffee house, and here he was listening to Charlene and her friends gab about existentialism, assassination conspiracies, Jungian UFO theory, Tibetan death manuals, Gandhian pacifism, and the triple aspects of the mother goddess in universal art forms, listening attentively and hardly batting a lash. So that's just a one-off thing that they say about the Civil War. It was not fought over slavery. Now, some people will say that, and they're like, oh, you know, states' rights and da-da-da-da. Okay. So if you don't know this, Lincoln did not care about slavery. So let's see. This is by Locklane Seabrook, and let's see. The lie that we were taught is that the South fought to preserve slavery. And the truth is, according to nearly every Southern leader, as well as the entire Southern populace, the conservative South fought for her independence from what she rightly perceived as a dictatorial liberal Northern government. A dictatorship liberal Northern government, basically. Her attempt to preserve both states' rights and the Constitution of the founding generation. Here's what Confederate President Jefferson Davis said during the war in 1864. We are not fighting for slavery. We are fighting for independence. And that, or extermination, we will have. Showing that the South's position never changed on this issue, here's what he said after the war. Slavery was never an essential element. It was only a means of bringing other conflicting elements to an earlier culmination. There are essential differences between the North and the South. That will, however, this war may end, make them two nations. The truth remains intact and incontrovertible that the existence of African servitude was in no wise the cause of the conflict, but only an incident. In the later controversies that arose, however, its effect in operating as a lever upon the passions, prejudices, or sympathies of mankind was so potent that it had been spread like a thick cloud over the whole horizon of historic truth. Alright. It's a lot. I said a lot. Let me take a hit while we let that shit settle. So slavery was never an essential moment. It was just a means of bringing other conflict elements to an earlier culmination. Davis's words are important. So important we repeat them. We are not fighting for slavery. We're fighting for independence. So Lincoln in the North didn't want to give the South its freedom to separate, because I think in the Constitution it says that if we wanted to, we could separate. But then he got killed because he didn't want the Federal Reserve, aka Rothschild, aka here is what Union President Abraham Lincoln said. My enemies pretend I am now carrying on this war for the sole purpose of abolition. So long as I am president, it shall be carried on for the sole purpose of restoring the Union. If there be those who would not save the Union unless they could at the same time destroy slavery, I do not agree with them, Lincoln says. My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union. It is not either to save or to destroy slavery. My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, the combination of the two, Confederacy and the Union. It's not in either way to save or destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it, says Abraham Lincoln. This is not to say he was a bad person. Nobody's perfect, right? This is not to say, oh, go take down his fucking monument, right? Because sometimes people have to play a role in history. And nobody's perfect. Not everybody was Jesus. Or possibly Enoch. So, but Lincoln did not want the Federal Reserve to take over. Here's a cool picture. It says, at this wartime photo of white Confederate soldier Andrew Martin Chandler on the left, what if that's Chandler from Friends, y'all? And black Confederate soldier Silas Martin shows Silas Martin. Silas Martin looks like a fucking gangster. Look, he got a smile on his face. He ready to kill some fucking people that don't respect the Constitution. The Confederate armies fought in racially integrated unit. The South fought integrated, quite in contrast to the Union armies, which fought in radically segregated units. I mean, it's just interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit that they taught us, there's truth in it. It's sugar coated, But this book right here, I already talked about it before, and I didn't read, but I did see, what is this? Where did I? Oh, this is for JFK time. That's for next episode. So that's my timeless cap of season 1, episode deuce of Timeless. And it's a great show. Catch it on Hulu. I'm trying to go at least over 1 or 2 episodes an episode. Next, I got some new crystals. Did I bring it with me? I brought one with me that it's not in this bag that I thought I had in my pocket. But oh well, on with the show. The other read. Pyrite. Major prosperity stone. What'd I do with the pyrite? Major prosperity. And you know I need prosperity. Reduces depression, anxiety, frustration, and false hopes. It grounds, it calms, it brings consistency to everyday life. Wait, maybe if I get it. Creativity, vitality, action, willpower, confidence, manifestation, mental clarity, focus, aids in overcoming bad habits. Let's see. Tiger eye. I got a golden tiger eye. Now I have 3 different tiger eyes. I didn't bring them all outside with me. This is a golden tiger eye. Shout out to tigers. The gold tiger eye aids in paying attention to detail. Excellent to have for tests and important meetings. Whoa. So those of y'all that are in college and shit, get one of these little motherfuckers. It's like $2 or some shit. I spent a lot of money because I got a lot. So the chakras, solar plexus, sacral, and roots. So these are it's your lower chakras. Chakra Zulu. This one, obsidian, snowflake obsidian, is really cool. Obsidian I know from Minecraft as well. And actually, as well as I took a geology class, I didn't pass it, or I dropped it. It's for all chakras, it says. Snowflake obsidian has the property of bringing things to the surface. The things brought to the surface could be positive or negative, love, anger, secrets. But with snowflake obsidian, these things are brought to the surface more gently than they might be otherwise. Snowflake obsidian can provide balance during times of change. It's called that snowflake because it's hard to see, but it looks like there's snowflakes on the obsidian. Beneficial for the veins, skeleton, smooth skin. Gives protection from physical and emotional harm. I love it. Okay. Next week, I'll talk about blue zebra marble, amethyst, blue lace, agate. I don't know how to say it. Shout out to Mr. Gaddy's Pizza. My dad used to work there. He used to take us on deliveries. It's funny, my mom used to take me to work too. She used to take me to, she worked at Tom Thumb and shit. Okay, so there was also this movie I watched called 1,000 Words with Eddie Murphy. And it's about him not being able to talk to, he's always talking, right? He's always spitting game and shit. He's successful and shit, but a lot of times his words don't have substance. He goes to a guru and the guru sends him a tree. The tree's in his backyard. Now every time Eddie Murphy says a word, a leaf falls. And as many more leaves fall, if the tree dies, he dies. He's like E.T. in the flowers. And I was watching it with my mom, and it was a great movie. It has a great meaning, message. I'm gonna use my mask, y'all. This underwear Hanes to wipe my sweat and shit. Yo, it was like underwear. But look, it's keeping the sweat, y'all. I just made something new, y'all. This is for like if you're playing basketball or some shit. Come at me, bro. So so anyway, I told my mom. Oh, so there was this scene where because he goes to a counselor, right? And he never like really does anything. He never like really means anything with the counselor. But this time he can't even talk to the counselor. So there's this one time when I was younger that I used to go to a counselor too. So like they were like students, so they weren't the greatest counselors in the world, but you know, they were trying and shit. So my mom, at that time, my mom and my dad only knew that I was smoking weed. They didn't know I was doing cocaine and all this other shit. So one evening, one day that I was supposed to, at night I was supposed to go, one of my homeboys hit me up. He ended up having some yayo. We started hitting some bumps. I was geeked up, then we smoked. And if any of you know anybody who's been on it or have done it yourselves, you know that after a while, there's like a phase, like when you first snort it, you want to talk. You talk, and then you don't want to talk at all. You can't talk. You physically cannot talk. So, so my aunt, for some reason, one of my aunts that I think she's proud of me now. You know, it's interesting because at some point you can't care too much about how other people think about you, but you still have that in you that you want your family to be proud of you. So even though I feel like the black sheep and I'm the one who advocates for cannabis use and psilocybin use, and I'm usually have a whole different perspective on political aspects or on the world, or you know, I still want them to be proud of me. And I was also raised by a Mexican father who has been working since he was like 7 years old. And my mom's father was working since he was like 6 or 7 years old. So the trauma, the hustle, it's all in the DNA. And thank God for that. Thank God for it. But it's also, I can't just put it all on them. You know, I also got to drink my caffeine and shit and my weed now. But so there was one time when I had to go, I was getting geeked up. My aunt took me to the counseling session, and I couldn't talk. And so I was like, hey, I told my sister to come with me. I was like, hey, I can't talk, I'm too fucked up. I need you to come talk for me. So I brought her, and I just told the people there that I was high on weed. They didn't know I was high on cocaine. They were like, so next time don't come. I just saw a bumblebee, huh? I think that means something. She's like, next time don't come high. I was like, all right, I ain't coming back on coke and shit. And I remember telling my aunt, like, she was like, are you all right? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm just hungry. And she got me food, and then I couldn't fucking eat it. I was like, oh no, I'm just sick. And yeah, that's one of those drugs, man, that it's not directly from the ground. You know, it's not like cannabis or psilocybin, because it goes through a factory process and shit. I think the only way I try it again is if I do it like the fucking Aztecs and the Mayans and shit, when they chew on that coca leaf, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, I ain't fucking with it. Synchronicity, there's been a lot of synchronicities. I told you about me giving my son that book, The Hatchet. He's already on the 3rd chapter. I'm really proud of him. But also, if you watch King and the Sting, which is a comedy podcast, they talked about it. They talked about The Hatchet. They showed it. It was interesting. It was on the episode 80. I want to say it was 80 because they pointed out, because 8 is, if you put it sideways, it's infinity. Yeah, because I told my son it was 80. It was episode 80. And he was born in 08. And then, yeah. Synchronicities, man. Synchronicities are messages from the universe, from God, from Goddess, from the angels. Numbers are from angels. Messages. And it's not, don't go crazy on it. It's not like every fucking, but you know, and sometimes it's just encouragement. Sometimes you just remember the little things. You see, like, you might be stressing out and you see 111 or 1111, you know, times 4 or whatever. And if you look it up, it's just like, it's probably like reassurance, like you'll be all right. Even if you see 666, the Bible tells you that it's an evil number, the man of the beast, the number of beast, but it's actually, if we're beasts, because carbon is 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. So it's the mark of man. But even 666, I mean, sometimes it means caution, but sometimes it means you're on the right path. But you look those up yourselves, you know. Write them down on a little notepad. That's what I do. Just suggestions. All right, the last thing I'm gonna start on. I'm gonna end light, very, very light. So if you know, Free Comic Book Day was canceled this year, but it's Free Comic Book Summer, so you can go, like, I think it's once a week every time new comics drop on Wednesdays. Or maybe you can just go, it just depends. You got to find out from your local comic shop. So I've only gotten this one so far, and it is legit. It's fucking fire. It has 2 stories. One with it starts off with Black Cat and Spider-Man having a convo, because you know they dated and stuff. Vulture's the bad guy on this one, and it's pretty dope. I like it, you know, and even though like a lot of it's a conversation, I guess because it synchronizes with kind of what's going on in my life. Shout out to CC. All right, so that's the first one. The second one is a Venom Story. Now the Venom Story, if you have been following, it goes about Null, K-N-U-L-L, which is he's an Avengers level threat, basically. So Eddie Brock goes to tell the Avengers and shit, and they're all pissed off. Captain America's like, chill, it's not too bad. Tony Stark's like, really motherfucker, it's not too bad. And then Eddie Brock is like, man, I don't blame them for being mad at me. The Venom's like trying to protect them from getting shot because somebody's going after him. And it's the virus that's going after him. And I don't really know the background of the virus, but it looks pretty dope. And so they fight for a bit, but you know, Venom is Venom, and Venom does his thing. And now they find out there's a goblin glider. So that means that Norman Osborn is involved. So I mean, that's fire. That's just one free fucking book, boy. All right. Now I usually don't, as y'all know, I only usually get Ninja Turtle books because of affordability. But this time, probably for the podcast, I wanted to get something extra. Did I leave mine? So I got a DC and I got a Marvel. My DC pick was BatmanBeyond 45. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It starts off with Damian and Ra's al Ghul. And they're trying to, it's called The Eradication Agenda Part 3. Now, sometimes people think, oh, I can't get into a book if it's already, like, the story's already going on. But usually, what I find, whatever draws me to it, and if I get that book, even if it's issue number 4 out of, you know, whatever, you get a piece of the story, and there might be something in there that the universe wanted for you. Synchronicity. Sometimes it's just a good story. And so this one is Damian's telling the story to the Bat family, to BatmanBeyond and them, about Ra's al Ghul and his plan to bring destruction to the world, to freeze it over because of population control. Sound familiar? And so BatmanBeyond, and then there's a BatmanBeyond Batwoman that looks fucking legit. Can't wait to see this shit on screen. Oh shit, fucking it up. Let's see. So BatmanBeyond, man, shout out to the cartoon. The cartoon was legit. So now, let's see what happens at the end. You got a new Bat gang back together. So that's pretty cool. BatmanBeyond. That's my DC pick of the week. Now my Marvel pick, this cover doesn't like say, you know, so I was like, what the fuck is up? And it starts off with telling about Moon Knight. Now I don't know a lot about Moon Knight. I heard he's really cool. He's like a really cool version, like a Batman and shit. But I start looking at what the story, you know, usually when I pick a book, I flip through the pages, and if the artwork catches my eye, then I'm like, oh, I might get it. So, you know, if you know about Moon Knight, he has like, he died and was reborn from an Egyptian god or something like that. And right now that god is like seeing the same horrible images that Moon Knight is seeing, and they're gonna go to Mephisto, who is in Hotel Inferno. And so at this point, this is issue 34. Moon Knight has already gotten the powers from all the Avengers. Let me actually read this real quick. It says Mark Spector is the Moon Knight, the mystically empowered avatar of the moon god Khonshu. There you go. Moon Knight recently betrayed his former comrades in the Avengers, battling each one in turn and claiming their powers for his own, starting with Iron Fist. After defeating both Doctor Strange and Black Panther, he then stole Ghost Rider's Hellfire-powered car and Thor's hammer Mjolnir. I don't know how to say his fucking hammer. With the power and weaponry of the Avengers now at their disposal, do Moon Knight and Khonshu plan on saving the world, or destroying it? So Moon Knight goes down this path. He tells Mephisto, he says he can't do much more shit to try to help save the world because he already betrayed his friends and shit. So the god dude was like, ah, fuck it, I'll do it. And they took over on behest of trying to prevent a takeover. But look, you see a little cameo with Spider-Man in there. Black Panther's locked up because he doesn't want to give his power up. And so Moon Knight's trying to tell him it's for the best and da-da-da-da. But, you know, they're like, Black Panther thinks he's brainwashed or something. And he might be. I don't know yet. And I don't know if I'll ever find out. But it's just a cool issue. He's got the Moon Knight powers. Not Moon Knight powers. Ghost Rider powers. You know, Black Panther's a beast. He busts out them fucking chains and beats all the motherfuckers' ass. Right? And then it ends with the little clip with, I guess this is a new Avenger, this baby with the boogers. And that's Tony Stark and Captain Marvel. That was my Marvel pick. If I was rich, I'd buy all the comic books that I wanted, bro. They're expensive. They're $3.99, so you have to. That's why I like when people will review them, so you know, like, oh yeah, I should spend money on that. If I ever miss one, I just get it online, like if they run out. Now, let me see another one. The rest are Turtle books, and I'm not gonna go too deep into them. But it actually, so this is 106, and this is 107. Let me take another hit, because it's about to get heavy with the Turtles. Talk about synchron motherfucking-nicity. And what's going on right now with all this cannibalism and sex trafficking and kids being eaten. They actually talk about kids being eaten in the Turtles, but it's not like you think. It's this reptilian monster that this little kid turtle, because like, okay, so in New York there was a mutagen bomb. Now part of New York is mutant town, and so that's quarantined off, you know, the mutants from everybody, and they get a little bit of supplies but not enough, so crime has risen. The Foot Clan is working with Old Hob and the Mutanimals. The Turtles have lost their dad, he's dead. Shredder's a good guy now, basically, but Karai's a bad guy. The Rat King is from the pantheon of gods that plays with humans and shit, and so a lot's been going on, and that's an incredible series that I really think people should check out if you're into the Turtles or comic books, because it's one of the, in my opinion and a lot of people's opinions, it's a very great series. That's all I can say. And so right now they're training, like they're taking care of kids and shit, but there's this one kid, this albino turtle, who was telling, is this 106? No, okay, that's one. Okay, right here. Like, look at the turtles without their mask and shit, because they're just chilling and vibing. The slithering. So this little albino turtle is telling Leo that there's this underground monster that captures kids and probably eats them. And these kids are like, oh, you're fucking stupid, you're a liar. And then the little kid's like, I'm not a fucking liar, you sons of bitches. And then he gets mad because, I don't know, they were fighting or some shit. So that little kid runs away and ends up getting captured by that fucking slithery. This fuck. Does that remind you of anything? I love the Turtles. And they know shit. I think there's a lot of people in the industry that know shit that are using their platform to speak on it, because life is crazier than fiction. So fiction pulls from life. This is the annual 2020. There's not an annual every year, but this year they had an annual. As you can see, that's formerly known as Shredder Oroku Saki. His granddaughter Karai, and that's Leatherhead with Krang, because he ate Krang in the trial of Krang when Krang was supposed to go to jail after they visited Dimension X. That's in the main series as well, and that shit was fire. A trial, they had a trial because Krang committed crimes. Look at this shit right here. Look at that fucking shit. Oroku Saki is having dreams when he was in hell, because there's a series called Shredder in Hell by Matteo Santaluco. Now the Rat King is like fucking with him. His girlfriend, the Kitsune, which is his sister, and it's Shredder's girlfriend, Kitsune, she doesn't have her powers anymore because she tried to resurrect the dragon god, but they ended up killing him. Shredder ended up killing him, and so did Splinter, and that's how Splinter dies to save the world. This, I don't know who she was, but they met her in the other dimension, Oroku Saki, and because you know they astral project and shit like that, and they were like brothers, Splinter and Oroku Saki, when they were young. So the Rat King wants to use Oroku Saki, but Oroku Saki says no, he's not doing that no more. The Foot Clan is his granddaughters, da. So then the Rat King goes and sees that Karai is pretty fed up with what's going on, and she's easily susceptible to being fucked with. Then it goes, so this basically the Rat King spying on the Turtles' friends and other people. That's Nobody, that's her name. It's Nobody, that's her real name. I forgot her real name. That's Alopex, that's Raphael's girlfriend. She used to be for the Foot Clan, and Nobody was part of the Purple Dragons. But then they run into this fuck, and like they're not getting along, right? Because he doesn't want him to do what Krang wants to do. So they go there. They're actually going there to destroy the Turtles' old van. Everybody. All right. So essentially, the Rat King gets involved because he can freeze time and shit, and he Leatherhead was actually gonna kill himself and Krang, but the Rat King didn't want him because he's a good pawn for the game that they play with us. And it's cool because Kevin Eastman, he always usually draw a cover, which is like, he has a crude style, but that's Mateus Santaluco's alternate cover for that one. The annual is cool because it also has the sketches and some of the pages. This right here, this is a badass collection, you know. And then the very last one for today is Urban Legends, which is brand new, but they're concluding the series that was canceled in the early 2000s, I believe. Some shit like that. And it's pretty cool. It's different. It's more serious. It's colored. The original story was black and white, but there's like it's like, so if you read volume 1, it's with the original creators Peter Laird, Kevin Eastman. Volume 2 is very short. Volume 1 had like 60 issues or so. Volume 2 was 13 issues colored with Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. Then for Volume 3, they sold it and it became the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles under Image, and it was black and white, and it got canceled eventually. Volume 4 was only Peter Laird, which was a continuation, but he didn't count this series as canon. And so what this series is doing, the Urban Legends series, is reprinting that Volume 3, but then ending it so that it can become canon to Volume 4. Because the turtles were mutilated, but Leonardo ends up growing his shit back, his hand. Donatello ends up getting his normal body back because he was like half robot. I don't know if Raph's face gonna get fixed because this shit was burnt with acid or something. And I guess that's it. I appreciate y'all for tuning in.